Hello, it's Andy from PCR Global with a bite-sized course review of the IOSH course that is Managing Safely. Let's crack on. First things first, who are IOSH? Well, what do IOSH say about themselves? Quick look at their website. Well, let's jump straight onto there. IOSH state to be the chartered body and largest membership organisations for health and safety professionals. And as you can see here on their website, they have their own vision laid out, they have their own mission laid out. Formed in 1945, IOSH has become a leader of a profession that has transformed the world of work. We have to agree with that, making it safer and a healthier place to be. It is a status identified by businesses and why chartered membership of IOSH is recognised worldwide as the hallmark of professional excellence in workplace safety and health. I'm a chartered member of IOSH myself. I've been a member of IOSH since, I believe, 2011, maybe a little bit before, and I did let it lapse whilst I was really still heavily involved in security. I'm a very happy member of IOSH. I think it's a fantastic organisation. I don't lean on it as much as I should, and probably most people don't, but big thumbs up. Just to go over this paragraph, we act as a champion, advisor, advocate and trainer for health and safety professionals working in organisations of all shapes and sizes in around 130 countries around the world. IOSH's focus is to support their members in creating workplaces that are safer, healthier and more sustainable. IOSH do this in many different ways, including a professional development programme, events, helplines and up-to-date technical advice. Let's think of COVID and the amount of IOSH webinars, tutorials that were online. I thought it was unbelievably refreshing. I thought it was fantastic. Safety was pushed really into everybody's living rooms. I think it was absolutely fantastic. So as much as COVID is absolutely terrible, there's a lot of positives have actually come out of the negatives. And I think IOSH and the way they've conducted themselves online is definitely one of them. So really huge thumbs up from myself on that. Their vision, simple: to produce a safe and healthy world of work. It's a hard thing to do, but ultimately going for a long time, and really they are immense advocates for safety and health. Their mission is to be the professional body leading the way in global occupational safety and health. Because of their expertise, reach and reputation, IOSH is uniquely placed to influence the way organisations look after their people at work. Certainly agree with that. So at least now we know that the organisation behind the course, we know a little bit about them. The course itself then, Managing Safely, it lasts for about 21 hours, 3 days. I think it used to be a 5-day course at one stage. And at the end of it, there's an assessment, a closed book exam and risk assessment project. We'll talk about that a little bit more at the end. 21 hours. It's a bit of a cram, I believe. Personally, because I love the content, I think it should be more hours than that. That is my personal opinion. IOSH say it's designed for anyone in any sector worldwide. Can't disagree with that. Ultimately, if you're teaching it worldwide, then we have to start thinking about language. Provides the knowledge and tools required to work safely. Gives peace of mind. Gives us peace of mind from training that's designed and quality controlled by IOSH. I agree with that as well. I mean, ultimately, PCR and my good self, we actually promote our own content as well. But I do believe there is a huge benefit when you actually have certain courses such as this that are put together by a body like IOSH. So big thumbs up, and I agree with that. Flexibility of delivery that suits businesses. Online, remote, Zoom, face-to-face, definitely. And if you do the course, then you will get an internationally recognised and respected certification. I've worked a lot in the States, and the majority of companies I've worked with in the States understand IOSH. Certainly all the health and safety practitioners do. Who should attend the course? IOSH state that Managing Safely is designed for managers and supervisors in any sector and any organisation. You won't suddenly become safety experts, as they tell us, understandably, but you will get up to speed on the practical actions needed to be taken and gain the knowledge and tools to tackle the safety and health issues they're responsible for. It covers a lot of information, so certainly it does give you that baseline. Importantly, managing safely makes a powerful case for safety and health being an integral part of day-to-day management and business. If you are going to put all your managers on managing safely and your supervisor, then certainly that is going to create, can you imagine all the conversations and communication and consultation that in itself is going to develop. So yeah, I think that is a very good statement by IOSH. But I do think that this slide is the most powerful, because for me it is the most accurate. Managing safely. Every manager needs to understand their responsibilities for health and safety. So important, so overlooked, and so far off the mark, I've got to say. If I look at the majority of the organisations that I work in, categorically, no, they do not. Managers do not understand their responsibilities, and that is a little bit frightening, to be honest. Some organisations I've worked in, especially security organisations, have stated that their managers must have IOSH Managing Safely. It does give them that grounding. A big statement here from myself, I genuinely think it should be mandatory. If not IOSH Managing Safely, a similar course. But where are you going to learn when you leave school? If you join the military, if you work in a library, wherever you go, where are you going to learn as a manager your health and safety responsibilities? It's not just written on your way to work on bus stops. It is critical that the organisation itself, the organisations that I work in or have worked in, especially our organisation, we talk about roles and responsibilities for safety and health all the time. We would do, but that's not your mainstream organisation. It's just not intuitive. So I'll say it again, I think this course, or a course like it, should be mandatory. What do IOSH say are the business benefits? Greater productivity, fewer hours lost to sickness and accidents. I think that's really hard to measure. I would like to think that that's true, of course, but it is difficult to measure. Improved organisation-wide safety awareness culture and appreciation of safety. That's got to be true. Ultimately, like we said just now, if we were getting those managers on it, that's going to increase communication, consultation, participation, all of those fantastic words. Active staff involvement to improve the workplace. Again, I agree with that. Internationally recognised certificate, undoubtedly. An enhanced reputation within the supply chain. I do a lot in the supply chain, and I must admit that I don't know how I would have seen that to be accurate, actually enhanced reputation because you've done this course. I'm not sure. I would say that is a difficult statement to actually justify. But ultimately, if certainly when I'm helping organisations with PQQs, I am looking for the qualifications of managers. So I would say if all managers had a IOSH Managing Safely, it would assist in that. How we can measure that and how that can be guaranteed is another question. Top 5 delegate benefits. What do IOSH say? Ensures you can assess and control risks and hazards. Ensures, a big word, a big statement, certainly enables you to assess and control risks and hazards. Ensures you understand your own responsibilities. I think that's a definite. That is a really good part of the course. It really does get that across. Enables you to investigate incidents. Ian, John, one of the directors of PCR, Ian, he loves teaching that module, the incident investigations. He thinks it's fantastic. It empowers us to measure our own performance once we've done the course. I suppose we could benchmark our knowledge before and after. I don't disagree with that. Allows for personal reflections on good practice. Going through this course, when I teach any course, actually, I ask everybody to just get a pen and paper, keep it on the side, do your own bit of a SWOT analysis in terms of what you're listening to from my good self and how that marries up with your own understanding. So I think it does allow for personal reflection, and it's 21 hours of it, and if not more. So I agree with that as well. Let's talk about the handbook. I think it's a fantastic handbook. I have one here. Maybe you wouldn't get a handbook like this if you were doing an online course. I'm not sure. We don't do this completely online. We do virtual classroom where we do send out the books. But ultimately, what have I pressed there? But ultimately, when you look at this book, we're talking 170 odd pages. 170 odd pages. That is real good reading. Throughout the course, you can use it as a guide, but then after the course, you can always dip back into it. So a really, really good handbook. What I done, I clicked onto the next module. Look, so module 1, what does this talk about? Introducing managing safely. So we have, why is it important to manage safely? What is your role in influencing safety? So it goes through that. A good number of pages on this, but we talk about moral, legal, financial. We talk about responsibilities and accountabilities. It tells us that we are as managers, we are on the front line of safety. We represent the employer and we will make decisions on local safety practice. So I think that module is very good. Module 2, please. Assessing risks. This is what health and safety is all about, surely, isn't it? Assessing risks. Everybody loves assessing risks, do they? I do. What is risk? What is a risk assessment? How are risk assessments carried out? So it does give us an understanding of how to undertake a risk assessment, basically following sort of the 5-step approach as advocated by the HSE. Obviously doesn't take us into the deeper methods of undertaking risk assessments as would be identified in something like ISO 31010 risk management techniques. But this is good. This is very good. I find when I teach this course that the delegates actually really enjoy this. It can appear a little bit of gobbledygook, likelihood, consequence, severity and all that good stuff. But guaranteed to pass this course, you have to understand how to undertake a workplace risk assessment. So I think a great module. Next module, controlling risks. In this module, they're talking about how do we reduce risk. So we're looking at things like the hierarchy of control. How do we decide which control to use? Some really good case studies. Yeah, that'll do. Case studies within this element. Talks about eliminating, talks about reducing. Again, hierarchy of control, safe systems of work. So a really good module. A really good module. And it does give us also it goes through matrices. Ultimately, we know matrices there's issues with matrices, okay, because they work off ordinal scales, but I'm not going to knock matrices at this level. 5 steps to risk assessment certainly doesn't use a matrix. The HSE says we don't have to use matrices. Of course, they can sometimes cause a little bit of, they can slow things down because people are discussing numbers and colours as opposed to the actual hazards and risks. But nonetheless, it's such a well-used and common method of risk assessment to go on any risk assessment course, health and safety course at this level. You do need to have an understanding of matrices. Next module. This is it for me. Responsibilities. What does the law require us to do? How does the law work? And what are key parts of a safety and health management system? I think this is a really good module. I've said that about every module because it is really good. It talks about common knowledge, industry knowledge, and expert knowledge. And then we're on to things like reasonable practicability, and reasonably practical. So very good, really good discussion module, I would say that one is. Understanding hazards. What a big module this is. Yeah, this covers lots of things. Mechanical, physical, chemical, biological, environmental, organisational. It goes through the categories. What are the most common types of accidents? What are the most biological hazards? Breaks them down. Viruses, fungi, parasites. Really good. There's a picture of a man with a sheep there for some reason. But again, quite good. Goes through aggression and violence. This is really overlooked in the workplace, isn't it? But we do see this quite often. So quite a lot in that module. Now we're on to investigating accidents. This is the one that Ian really loves. Why investigate incidents? How do incidents happen? How do you carry out an incident investigation? Really good module. A lot of discussion It gives us a good sort of scenario that we go through. It talks about near misses and accidents, talks about sort of latent failures, underlying causes, root causes as well. How do we report? Who do we report to? How do we preserve the scene, the investigation process? What I really like about this, it gets us onto the discussion of the levels of incident investigation. What an interesting area this is, because as soon as somebody says to me, a manager, a supervisor, a person, a business owner, as soon as they say to me, oh yes, but no, if we do that, we'll be investigating everything. The minute somebody says that is the minute you know they do not understand how to go about incident investigation and how to apply a framework into an organisation. Let's think of that again. But if we do that, we'll be doing everything. We'll be investigating paper cuts. Stop. No, you won't. Unless you have a robust process in your own company, then you may well be doing that, and you're wasting everybody's time. So we need to put that minor, serious, major, fatal. We need to put that structure in there, so we have a low-level investigation and a high-level investigation, maybe a mid-level investigation, depending on the organisation. But ultimately, if you are thinking, oh, we will be investigating everything, then clearly you don't understand, and clearly your organisation doesn't have the right incident investigation model in place. Measuring performance, final module. Let's have a look. What is performance measurement about? How do you measure safety and health performance? And what is auditing? Auditing, chuffed with that. Have to love an audit. Talks about proactive and reactive measurement. We talk about, let's have a look what else, find something on a different page. We talk about injury incident rates as well. Always worth knowing, something to measure against. And we know we can rip this apart and say, yeah, but people don't report incidents and it's all the figures are wrong. We have to do something, don't we, of course. Okay. Iceberg principle. Yeah, I do like that. And then moving swiftly on to audit. And I love audit. Observation, document review, interview, attaching those audits to the higher risk areas of the organisation. So far, so very good. And then we come to the assessment. So what is the assessment? What does that look like? A multi-format question exam tests the health and safety knowledge. It's a closed book assessment. I think you actually get an hour for it, but it takes around 45 minutes usually. You've got 30 questions. And then you have your risk assessment project, which requires the delegates to assess risks in their own workplaces or in another workplace if you don't have it. If you're struggling with the workplace, then obviously speak to the tutors. And then you'll need to complete the project within 2 weeks from the end of the course. I think I have something. If I dip into here, then if I go into our sort of learning zone that we provide, then I can show you can download. This is the Managing Safely project guidance from IOSH, talks about the project. So you get that. And this is a mock assessment. Look, insert the most appropriate word from the options below in each of the two statements, financial, moral, legal. So these, when I teach this course, I tend to go through these mocks all the time, because the most time you can spend getting the delegates to think about these questions by process of elimination as well, it really enhances the experience. So you're not rote learning, you're getting them to think through it, because a lot of the times we will already know this. It'll be quite intuitive. Let's have a look. Really good. Look at the incomplete diagram below. So we've got your plan, do, check, act from HSG 65. Really good as well. Again, I like to think of these frameworks constantly in my head. It really helps me. So good. So far, so good. Course cost. Right. What is the important thing of knowing? Well, it is a fantastic course. However, I'm going to put a little bit of a stop sign, a bit of a warning sign here, because costs vary dramatically across the UK. Let's look at e-learning, for instance. So e-learning, what is generally e-learning? Well, e-learning, you're not generally going to have that tutor with you. So you could be studying at 1 o'clock in the morning on your break if you work in nights. Some e-learning out there for £125, £190, £199. All I've done is a 10 to 15 minute quick review online. But from 125 to 249, I mean, there may be a massive difference in the content, but that is also a massive difference in the price. And we have to watch our pennies. Now we're looking at virtual classroom. So this is basically sitting down, looking through the screen with myself. I'm chatting, Ian, John, Phil, whoever's teaching, or anybody else, of course, on any other course provider. But you're sitting there with the tutor. This does give you the opportunity to discuss with other students, gives you the opportunity to discuss with the tutor. I think this method of teaching is fantastic, of delivery, I should say, is fantastic. It enables us to train with anybody around the UK or around the world. So we're not hamstrung by that local provider. Let's have a look at the differences. From 199 to 595. I'm pretty shocked that virtual classroom training is provided at that price, if I'm really honest. It's a fantastic course. I don't think you can put so much of a spin on it that you can compare compare these prices, wrong that these prices are relatable to what you're actually delivering. I personally don't think so. 199 virtual. Classroom, again, these vary massively. I only looked at a few. 450 to 625. I suppose that's going to be very massive again. So this is the only downer for me for this. It's not so much the course, it is the providers out there, because you really got to do your due diligence. As for PCR, what are we doing? 199. So we do virtual classroom for 199. Plus you get access to our learning zone when you have additional materials. What is the cost of our classroom course? We're currently choosing not to do that due to sort of the climate, as it were. However, we are aching to get back into the classroom, and I can assure you that our costs would be just as low, if not lower, than other people's. If you did want to do it with us, ultimately our tutors, you'd get Ian, you get Phil, you get Johnny, you get myself. And again, that's our price, 199. So what is the learning zone? What is the learning zone all about? So with us, we try to add a little bit more on. We give you some targeted guidance in those areas. So you'll sign in, you get a login, you can access the area. We also take you through each and every sort of module, and we give you then links to wider knowledge. And we also give some free sort of toolbox talks. And the beauty with our learning zone is you'll never come out of it. As long as you've signed up to it, you've paid to train with us, then you will keep that access to the learning zone. And we're hoping to develop that learning zone as we go on. Enough about us. So at the end of the day, does the Managing Safely do what it says on the tin? Absolutely. It does exactly what it says on the tin. It is an excellent course. A course, I will say again, I believe every manager should have. Is it a thumbs up or a thumbs down? It's an obvious thumbs up, okay? But be mindful when checking prices and looking at different providers. So it is a highly recommended course. IOSH Managing Safely, 21 hours and an assessment, which is a risk assessment project and a closed book exam. Thank you very much, IOSH, a really good course. That's it. Thank you very much for listening. I hope it's been of some use. Again, have a look. There's some fantastic providers all around the country. Have a really good look. Check the prices. See if you can get the price knocked down if possible. If not, well, what I should say is don't trust it. Test it. Thanks for watching.